The girl wearing a crown is a top dancer at a major theater in Russia. With her graceful figure, every day many wealthy and powerful people wanted to get close to her. But the heart of this girl, named Dominika, was only devoted to dancing because her mother had a leg condition. In order to receive free physical therapy and housing from the theater, Dominika had to stay at the top of her dancing career. But life can't always go smoothly, can it? As Dominika was dancing gracefully on stage as usual, her nightmare suddenly struck. Her partner accidentally stepped on and broke her leg. By the time Dominika woke up, she was already in a hospital bed. Her leg was pinned down with metal rods. It was clear she had just undergone surgery. Dominika realized that her dancing career was over. 3 months later, Dominika was discharged from the hospital. By then, she could already walk on her own. When she returned home, she discovered someone else was there. It was her Uncle Ivan visiting the two of them. Uncle Ivan was the deputy director of the intelligence agency. Because of his busy work, he rarely visited them. When Dominika made tea for Ivan, he offered to help her with her career. And he left behind a document. Nothing unusual outside. The streets were still bustling. After Ivan left, Dominika went back to her room and checked the file. Finding a recorder and a stack of photos, the recorder captured a conversation between her male dance partner and another ballerina. Turns out another ballerina had been eyeing Dominika's position. So she seduced the male partner and plotted to break her leg to steal the role. In a fit of rage, Dominika rushed to the theater. She found the treacherous couple in the bathroom. Then she grabbed a stick and gave the two of them a beating. After that, Dominika panicked and ran out of the theater. She was afraid she might have caused someone to pass away, so she didn't forget to call an ambulance. After it was done, she went home and found her mother in pain, sitting on the floor. It turned out the conservatory had stopped paying, so the caregiver who used to take care of her mother didn't show up anymore. To take care of her mother and to stay in the city, Dominika decided to find Uncle Ivan to see if there were any opportunities. But Ivan, being a cunning veteran of Russian intelligence, wasn't about to help someone for nothing. Even if it was his own niece, she had to do something for him first. Ivan told Dominika to go to a luxury hotel at 9 p.m. on Friday, take a shower, and put on a formal outfit that had been prepared beforehand. Then sit in the most eye-catching spot at the bar lounge to attract the attention of the boss, Ustinov. Start a conversation with him and go with him into the hotel room. While he wasn't paying attention, she was to swap his phone. But she didn't expect Ustinov to be extremely aggressive with her. Just as he was about to do something awful, a helmeted assassin appeared behind him. He used a wire to strangle his neck. Dominika was completely terrified at that moment. She could only obediently follow the assassin's instructions. She followed behind him, as the assassin used a silenced gun to shoot the door lock. Then he led Dominika down to the parking garage. After dealing with the bodyguard, he took Dominika by motorcycle to another hotel, to a secluded room. The assassin removed his helmet right in front of Dominika, revealing his real face. And just at that moment, the real mastermind entered the room. It was Ivan, Dominika's uncle. At that moment, Ivan seemed like a completely different person, cold and ruthless. He said that just because Dominika saw the assassin in action, and even clearly saw the assassin's face. He gave Dominika only two paths to choose from. First, to be sent for professional training and become a Russian spy. Second, to be eliminated. Obviously, Dominika could only choose the first path. Before the training, she went home to say goodbye to her mother. Her mother gave her only one important piece of advice. That was, with this devilish uncle, you must protect yourself well. Don't let yourself be cut off from every escape route. The car came to pick Dominika up, driving along a snowy road. Dominika knew very well that after this trip, her life would change drastically. She would no longer have the chance to go back. Dominika was taken to a cold, harsh place. Russia's secret military school numbered 4 in Siberia. The female instructor who welcomed her first handed her the school's rule book. Under no circumstances could she reveal her real name or any other personal information. Understood? Yes, ma'am. In this school, all students were called Sparrows. They were handsome young men and women sent from all over Russia. One of the lessons at this school was how to find an opponent's weakness and exploit it. After saying that, the female instructor called Dominika and another male student forward. She told them to strip completely in front of the class. Dominika looked at the instructor in disbelief, but the instructor told her that, ever since they were born, their bodies belonged to the state. To repay the state, they had to forget their dignity and morals. In addition to learning to forget dignity, Dominika was also trained in skills like shooting, lock-picking, and tracking targets. And just as Uncle Ivan had said, Dominika seemed born to be a perfect seed for espionage. She excelled in every subject, but because she always stood out like a phoenix, she drew jealousy and resentment from others. That day, while Dominika was taking a shower, a naked male student suddenly burst in and pinned her against the wall. He had long been unhappy with Dominika, and now wanted to overpower her in a disgraceful way. But Dominika wasn't someone who could be subdued so easily. She grabbed a steel squeegee and knocked him down. She hit him so hard his nose bled. This incident led the headmaster to call Dominika in for a talk. But strangely, he didn't scold her for beating a fellow student. On the contrary, he just said that he and his wife had once watched her perform. He simply told her that. In fact, life had many different paths. Then he told her to go, but the female instructor didn't let this go. In class, she called Dominica to the front again, then also called the male student she had defeated the day before. She told Dominica to give him what he truly wanted. The guy told Dominica to turn around, but she refused. She directly stripped in front of him. Seeing Dominica so direct, he lost the desire to possess her. He put on his pants and left like a loser. In truth, Dominica realized that what this guy really wanted was power. The headmaster felt this student had mastered the skill of reading people, so he let her graduate and sent her back to Russia. When Dominica had just returned home, before she could talk to her mom, Ivan's call came through. Her mom felt that maybe Dominica would never escape Ivan's grasp, but in her heart, Dominica swore she would find a way out. Dominica went to a restaurant. Sure enough, she went to meet the uncle she least wanted to see. Ivan gave her a mission. Turns out, a few months ago, Nash, a spy from the American CIA, had secretly met an informant in a Russian park to exchange intel. Suddenly, they ran into a patrolling police car. Seeing the informant stopped by the police to keep him from being exposed, Nash immediately pulled out a pistol and fired several shots to draw attention. He successfully rescued the informant and ran straight to the U.S. Embassy, and he also managed to stay alive. Nash returned to the U.S. for a while, but now Russian security discovered he's in Budapest, Europe. To find out who his informant really is, Ivan decided to send Dominica to get close to Nash and earn his trust. Eventually, she would find out the name of the traitor spy. In truth, Dominica didn't want to be a spy. To reassure her, Ivan painted a sweet picture. If she completed this mission, he would set her free. With no other option, Dominica had to head to Budapest and moved into the Russian Security Bureau housing there. Her roommate was a senior spy named Mata. She had been working there for many years and kindly gave Dominica a warning. The station chief there was a lewd and vulgar old man. Whenever dealing with him, she should be cautious. Sure enough, Mata wasn't wrong. When he saw Dominica, his eyes lit up. He looked for chances to get close to her on purpose, but to a creep like that, Dominica paid no mind. She found out from the files that Nash liked swimming every day, so she followed him all day from the pool. That evening, she dyed her hair blonde. The next day, she also signed up at that pool. While filling out the personal info, Dominica hesitated, then tore up the fake name form. Then she wrote down her real name. This meant revealing her true identity to him. Wearing a seductive swimsuit, Dominica purposely walked past Nash, all to catch his attention. Sure enough, as she left the pool, Nash called out to her. But unexpectedly, Nash had already noticed her the day before. He even realized she had dyed her hair, which meant he knew Dominica was trying to approach him on purpose. The next morning, Dominica got on the bus feeling a bit tense. But once the bus started, she smiled. The next day, Dominica went to the pool as usual, but Nash was nowhere to be seen. When she returned the key, the staff couldn't find her registration form. Turns out, Nash had stolen her registration form. Then Nash investigated Dominica's real information and reported it to his superiors. They learned that she used to be a ballerina. More importantly, she was the niece of the deputy director of the Russian Security Bureau. Moreover, Nash felt this woman using her real name must have had a hidden reason. For many reasons, he decided to see if he could win her over. The next day, at an international wine event, Nash saw Dominica again. The two already knew each other's situation and began talking openly. Nash made it very clear that he wanted to be friends with her, so the two agreed to have dinner together the next day. That evening, Dominica went home and found that Mata wasn't in the room, so she quietly opened Mata's door and searched the room. Finally, she found a wax paper bag hidden in the corner crack. Inside were many intimate photos of Mata and an American woman, along with a diary stating clearly the woman was the U.S. Senate Chief of Staff. At that moment, Dominica heard the front door open downstairs. Mata had returned. Dominica quickly flipped through a few more pages of the diary. On another page, she found out that Mata was about to carry out an intel deal worth $250,000 with that woman in London. When Mata walked into the room, Dominica pretended to be coming out of her own room. Mata handed her a piece of paper. Turns out, Dominica had refused to sleep with the station chief, so that petty man went straight to Security Bureau to snitch. He reported that Dominica had made no progress at all. Dominica was worried too. She knew if she were held accountable, the outcome would be disastrous. So, the next night, she didn't go to dinner with Nash as planned. Instead, she secretly followed Nash home. After finding out where he lived, Dominica decided to face him directly and get closer to him in person. She made fake tears fall and rang Nash's doorbell. Dominica pretended to look pitiful, slowly approaching Nash, ready to use her looks to seduce him, to gain his trust, but unexpectedly, Nash didn't fall for it. He simply told Dominica to think clearly about what she really wanted. For the first time, she experienced the sting of failing to read someone. She arranged to meet Nash again the next day, then quietly left. But the next day, Dominica stood outside the pool, waiting this way and that, but Nash never showed up. With no other choice, she still had a mission to complete. So she went to Nash's home again. She used her expert lock-picking skills to open Nash's door. She searched the house for a while but found nothing useful. Just as she was about to leave, she happened to see 2 wine glasses still on the table from the night before. The empty one was Nash's. Dominica paused, as if calculating something. Then she took the glass with Nash's fingerprints. When she got home, Dominika was shocked to see Ivan already there. It turned out everything happened because of the station chief's snitching. Ivan was Dominika's direct superior. He was supposed to attend a meeting in Vienna, but took a detour to press Dominika on what exactly was going on, because she still hadn't made any progress with Nash, and hadn't obtained any useful information. In a panic, she told Ivan that Mata was about to carry out a $250,000 intel exchange with the Americans. She also lied that it was a joint operation between her and Mata. She wanted Ivan to give her the $250,000 in advance. Dominika knew Ivan could easily afford that amount. Ivan understood this intelligence wasn't insignificant, so he let Dominika off the hook for now and prepared to leave. Just as he reached the door, he remembered he forgot his coat. Dominika immediately offered to get it for him, but while retrieving the coat, she quickly opened his passport and read it thoroughly, memorizing the passport number before placing it back. After seeing Ivan off, Dominika walked back in and was shocked to see Mata standing there with a gun. Turns out Mata had overheard the entire conversation between her and Ivan. Mata demanded to know why Dominika wanted to steal the target she had pursued for over a year. Dominika knew Mata was a seasoned frontline spy who had risked her life for years. She absolutely couldn't come up with $250 on her own. But Dominika could. She could get the Russian Security Bureau director to fund Mata's operation. Mata didn't understand why Dominika would risk everything to complete the mission. What kind of leverage did the organization have over her? So Dominika told the earlier story, that she had witnessed Ivan's assassin kill that Russian mob boss. This was something that could never be revealed. If exposed, Dominika would surely be eliminated to keep her quiet. But her actions had now dragged Mata into danger as well. After the storm passed, Dominika went to the train station and bought a ticket to Vienna. Then she arrived at a local bank's entrance. She looked inside through the glass. Dominika targeted a young and inexperienced male employee as her mark. She waited until the bank closed for the day, then rushed up pretending to urgently open a new account. The one in charge of locking the door was the exact man she'd chosen. After being invited to coffee by a pitiful beauty and filling out the account form, the inexperienced young man agreed without hesitation. Meanwhile, Mata went to meet the intelligence station chief. Still holding a grudge, she revealed Dominika's weakness to this snitching pervert, covered in road dust. Dominika returned to her place in Budapest and found Mata missing from the room. The bathroom door was slightly ajar. She tiptoed closer and gently pushed it open. The assassin who killed the mob boss appeared again. It turned out Mata had been brutally murdered by him. Out of respect for Dominika being Ivan's niece, he didn't harm her, but he gave Dominika a warning. If anyone else found out he had killed the mob boss, she would be the next one in the bathtub. After telling Dominika to call the police, he left the scene. The local police questioned her, but got no useful information. Dominika was released. Waiting outside the police station was Nash, who had been gone for days. Turns out, over the past few days, Nash had received intel from his team. He went to a secret location for a meeting. The important intel Nash received this time was Dominika was a Sparrow, a beautiful spy secretly trained by Russia. So Nash laid all his cards on the table with Dominika. He compared the intelligence structures between Russia and the US, and condemned how cruelly the Russian Security Bureau treated its own agents. Nash hoped to persuade Dominika to switch sides and join CIA Team 5 to serve the US. Nash promised he would protect her, just as he had once protected his informant. Dominika was a bit moved by those words. She began to seriously consider working for the CIA. So Nash took her to a CIA safe house in Budapest. There, 2 senior CIA officers were waiting for her. For safety, they made Dominika wear a lie detector to prevent any risks. They asked many questions to confirm if she truly wanted to work for the US government. But this kind of test wasn't very effective on a professionally trained spy. After the test, Dominika laid out her terms. She requested that the CIA transfer $30,000 monthly to her account in Vienna. The CIA felt Dominika's demand was a bit greedy, since she hadn't delivered any valuable intel yet. And yet she dared to make bold demands. So Dominika revealed that the U.S. former Senate Chief of Staff was planning to sell missile intel. This bombshell left everyone in the room completely stunned. From then on, they no longer dared to underestimate this Russian spy. Friday, the day of the exchange, finally arrived. Dominika went to the designated hotel in London. Inside the room was $250,000 prepared by the Russian Security Bureau. In the hidden compartment under the desk was a fake data disk prepared by the CIA. Dominika went down to the hotel bar to wait for the U.S. Senate Chief of Staff to arrive. The result was unexpected. An uninvited guest showed up. It was the sleazy old man Station Chief Maxim. He didn't trust the operation, so he came under the guise of helping. But Dominika clearly knew. He was really Ivan's planted spy. Seeing him made Dominika furious, so she sent him into the inner room. Shortly after, Chief of Staff Stephanie arrived. Dominika immediately sat next to her, introducing herself as the one in charge of the exchange. When she saw it wasn't the familiar Mata, Stephanie grew cautious. She was about to leave the hotel, but Dominika had done thorough research on Stephanie. She knew Stephanie was in desperate need of money. Once again, Dominica displayed her talent for psychological manipulation. She used clever, subtle words to persuade Stephanie into the deal room. Stephanie was still very wary, but after seeing the overflowing bag of money, she lit up. Her caution instantly disappeared. She handed Dominica a data disk containing missile information. Dominica walked over to the desk, ready to open the hidden drawer, but the drawer was jammed and wouldn't open. She had to try multiple times. Dominica began swapping the real disk for the fake one, but the process took too long, and Maxime began to grow suspicious. He moved in to inspect. The female CIA agent monitoring from the adjacent room began to worry. She quickly left her room and rang Dominica's doorbell. She pretended to be the hotel manager, asking Maxime about the guest experience and reviews. That gave Dominica more time to act. Thanks to the smooth coordination with the CIA, Dominica successfully switched the data disk. She completed the exchange with Stephanie. Before leaving, she told her to wait another hour before going. But unexpectedly, just moments before Dominica could leave, Stephanie, already tipsy, grabbed the money bag and left the hotel. While waiting at a red light, she lit a cigarette. Suddenly, she realized CIA agents were watching her from both sides. Stephanie panicked, hurriedly tossed the money bag into a trash can, and staggered across the street. But then, a heavyset man stepped out of a van and approached her. Stephanie realized she'd been exposed. She slowly stepped backward. Then a truck came crashing into her, ending her life instantly. This unexpected scene was witnessed by a Russian Security Bureau agent waiting outside the hotel. He immediately called to report it. Maxime received the call. He instantly told the driver to head straight for the airport. He told Dominica that the Russian security director wanted to congratulate them, so they decided to fly back to Moscow immediately. Then he demanded Dominica hand over the disc and passport. Dominica instantly sensed something was wrong. She immediately realized something must have happened, but all she could do was pretend to stay calm. After Maxim retrieved the disc from the hotel, he was about to leave when he got a call from above. He also learned that Stephanie had been hit and killed. His head twitched, because he knew this would definitely raise suspicion about Dominica. Her life was now in grave danger. Nash immediately drove to the airport, hoping he could save Dominica. He rushed into the airport lobby with his gun. Luckily, he caught sight of Dominica lining up for the boarding area. Dominica also turned and saw Nash. She shook her head at him, signaling him not to act rashly. Nash could only stop, helpless and heartbroken. He knew this trip would likely end terribly for Dominica. Back at the Russian Security Bureau, an interrogator asked Dominica if she had leaked intel to the U.S. Even while being beaten, Dominica stubbornly refused to confess. Seeing she wouldn't talk, Ivan, who was watching from behind a screen, immediately called in to order his niece be tortured. Dominica was stripped and locked in a holding cell. Cold water was constantly poured over her. She was brought into the interrogation room again. The question remained the same. Did you leak information to the American? Dominica's answer was still no. This time, what she received was a crushing blow. Then, they showed Dominica a video. Maxime, the one who returned with her, had been shot in the head. The interrogator pulled out a gun and stepped behind her. He asked the question one last time, but Dominica still refused to admit it. The trigger was pulled, but the gun was empty. Dominica felt like she came back to life. Terrified to the core, she bent over and vomited. At that moment, Ivan appeared before her. He told Dominica to tell the truth, but Dominica said everything she had done was to complete the mission Ivan had originally assigned her. She did it only to gain the Americans' trust, so she could finally learn the informant's identity. Ivan listened and couldn't refute her. A sparrow doing whatever it takes to complete the mission wasn't unusual. Didn't I do well, uncle? Didn't I do well? Looking at his miserable, pitiful niece, Ivan softened, so Dominica narrowly escaped death. She was temporarily released. But when Ivan reported the situation to the director, both the director and the headmaster believed Dominica was lying to Ivan. They suspected this Sparrow had developed feelings for the CIA agent. Ivan was pressured to take a stance. He said, "If evidence of Dominica's betrayal is found, I will personally deal with her." Ivan returned home and found his niece waiting for him. Dominica came to say goodbye to her uncle before leaving. But this time, she used her familiar seduction tactics on her own uncle. Perhaps long ago, she already knew. This man, her uncle, had always harbored inappropriate thoughts toward her. After that, Dominica returned to Budapest. She went back to Nash. She knew for certain that Nash would never reveal the informant's name. So in the end, she knew she would eventually be eliminated. She wanted to go to the U.S. for protection. At the same time, she asked for more money. She wanted the $250,000 transferred to her account in Vienna. Nash agreed to all her demands. At that moment, Nash had finally been defeated by the Russian woman before him. When Dominica moved in and kissed him again, he no longer resisted. After they were intimate, Dominica woke up in bed but didn't see Nash. When she opened the kitchen door, she saw the assassin strangling Nash with a wire. Dominica instantly understood the situation. Ivan had finally lost his patience. So, she stepped forward, pretending to cooperate, and tied up Nash. The assassin loosened the wire temporarily, but then took out a skin grafting toolkit. It was the kind used for treating burn victims. He planned to torture Nash slowly, until he revealed the informant's name. Dominika watched expressionlessly as Nash was tortured, even helping hold him down. Seeing Nash still silent, Dominika asked the assassin to give her the tool. She said she'd try it herself, but as soon as the assassin turned away carelessly, she suddenly exploded into action, revealing she had been pretending to cooperate all along. She had only been waiting for the right moment to save Nash. The assassin leapt up, attacking both Nash and Dominika with a knife. Nash charged at him in a fight. Dominika seized the chance to slice the assassin's Achilles tendon. He collapsed to the ground, unable to stand. Dominika quickly finished him off. When Dominika woke up, she was in a hospital bed. Her condition was stable, but what troubled her most now was what should she do next. The assassin was dead, which meant she would definitely be suspected of betrayal. Just as she was agonizing over her options, an unexpected person appeared. The headmaster. Dominika thought he came to finish her off, but instead, he told her that he was the informant who had been undercover all this time. His wife had cancer, but the Russian government wouldn't allow American doctors to operate on her. Because of that, his wife passed away very early. That was the reason why he betrayed his country. But living like that for so long, he was exhausted. He saw potential in Dominika to replace him, so he told her to turn him in. That way, Dominika could save her own life. She could even take his place and continue working for the CIA. The situation took a dramatic turn. Dominika took immediate action. First, she confessed to the Budapest police. She admitted to killing someone and asked to speak to the Russian embassy. When she met with embassy officials, Dominika requested to make a phone call to the Security Bureau director. She wanted to report the name of the traitor herself. She wanted to trade that information for her life. Dominika gave the director the informant's name over the phone. Meanwhile, the headmaster returned home. He didn't lock the door and simply sat quietly on the couch, waiting to be taken away. Dominika was escorted to the airport by police. The CIA had already been waiting there. Nash looked at her silently, his eyes full of hope. This woman had finally completed the mission. At that moment, a Russian helicopter arrived. They brought a hooded person with them. When Nash asked the Russians to remove the hood for identification, the person had already been dealt with. The one brought wasn't the headmaster, it was Ivan. That's when Nash realized Dominika had tricked them. But at that point, he couldn't expose her. They confirmed this was the person they wanted to exchange. It turned out, the name Dominika gave the director wasn't the headmaster, but her own uncle, Ivan. After the director sent someone to investigate, they discovered that there was a used wine glass in Ivan's house. Additionally, they found Ivan had a secret bank account in Vienna. The Americans had transferred $250,000 into that account. Moreover, the data stored on the disk Ivan retrieved from Dominika was CIA encrypted. A mountain of evidence left Ivan with no way out, completely ruining his chances of recovery. "You've caused my downfall. Did I do well, uncle?" Ivan whispered his final words to Dominika, and then he walked toward the American. But Russia would never let a traitor leave so peacefully. They had an ambush ready and sent Ivan off with a bullet to the head. Dominika was taken back to Russia. She became a patriotic hero of a new generation. The headmaster sat below, clapping proudly for her. And just like that, Dominika replaced her uncle to become the director of the Security Bureau. She also became the highest-ranking double agent Sparrow, continuing to navigate between Russia and the US. To survive, she had no choice but to keep playing this dangerous game.